Today I'm going to be looking at a database that could be the answer to the dominance of the Premier League and how Scottish and Welsh teams finally have a little bit of success in Europe. So this is a structure, a database that is made up of all teams from Scotland, Ireland, Northern Ireland and Wales, all the Celtic nations, and they are put together into one league system. And we're going to see how they get on, and we'll see who do you think is going to win. I want you to let me know, so I'll show you the database in a minute, but I want you to let me know, I'm going to do 30 seasons, how many times do you think a team other than Celtic or Rangers are going to win this division? The second thing I want to know is, do you think there's going to be any European winners in this entire 30 years from this league? So would putting all these teams together make it competitive enough, attract enough interest for it to be actually competitive on the European stage? So here I am. I've also got the English leagues loaded up so we can see what happens in those at the same time. We're going to start here. This is the Tato, Cheese and Onion Celtic Nations Premier League. I'm going to do that a few times. Celtic. Celtic are, of course, in here along with a load of teams. It's been put into Ireland. So if I click on Celtic, for example, it will say that they are based in Ireland. But other than that, you'll see that there's a lot of Scottish teams in there, but there's a mixture. There's a couple of Welsh, couple of Irish teams in here too. Swansea and Cardiff are the two Welsh teams here in the top division. This is 19th, by the way, in terms of competition reputation right now. We'll see if that improves over time. You can see these are all the teams that start out in the Premiership. I'll slowly scroll down and show you the other ones. So beneath that, we've got the Kerrygold Celtic Nations Championship. You see there's some decent teams in here. We've got teams like Ross County in here. Wrexham, of course, I'm expecting them to be in the Premiership within a few seasons. Hamilton Academical are there as well, for example. We've got down in League One, we've got teams like Cork City, we've got Drogheda United. Some of the Irish teams crop up a bit more here. Waterford down at the bottom there, Queen of the South from Scotland there. We've got down in League Two, we've got some of the Welsh teams and Scottish teams that are a bit, mixed in here. So Caerphilly, we got Clyde from Scotland, we've got Peterhead from Scotland, so there's a mixture there. Down, and then this is now the fifth tier, which is League Three. So this is the equivalent of the Conference League over in England. So we've got East Fife down here for 5. By the way, the teams that were playing in England have been moved into this division. So that is Cardiff and Swansea and Wrexham and Newport County, I think, are the 4. I can't think of any others. Is there a Scottish one? I can't think right now. Anyway, the ones that are playing in the English leagues have been moved. No, Berwick play the other way around. So Berwick, I think, maybe have been moved into the English divisions now. So Berwick Rangers might now be in the English divisions. We could probably check, right? Nope. Poor old Berwick Rangers have been left in the Scottish division on their own. So I wonder how Berwick Rangers get on. I hadn't actually noticed that when I loaded this up, but they're just left there. The only Scottish team no longer there because they are, interesting. So anyway, back down in League Three, we've got Queen's University, Spartans, Stranraer, and then it goes down. It splits off into 2. So we've got the Titanic Conference 1 and the Titanic Conference 2. And then below that, we have one more division, which is the Welsh Lamb League, which has teams. They're not just Welsh teams. There will be teams from all over as time goes on. This database is made by Miranda, and there is a link down in the description below if you want to give it a go. I'm interested. I think this would be a really fun one to play around with, particularly if you're Celtic or Rangers. I think it adds a little bit of extra challenge, perhaps, than playing just in the Scottish leagues, and also gives you a little bit of help probably in Europe. But we'll have a look and see what happens on that front as we go along. So we're going to go 10 years in, and I'll show you what's been happening in the first 10 years. So this is the 10th year. You can see on the left here the teams that are currently in the division. So Wrexham have made it in. I'll show you the winners and stuff. You can see actually here, the winners are shown up there. You can see it's all Celtic and Rangers, but we'll have a look at those leagues. You can see that the competition ranking has gone up from up to 8th now, which is good. So we're going to go back and we'll have a look through the seasons as they went for the first few years. So we've got Celtic and Rangers. Cardiff and Swansea struggling, not getting those European spots. So by the way, they start off with 5 European spots. So 2 Champions League, 2 Europa League, and 1 Europa Conference League. Rangers, Swansea do get in. Cardiff do get into Europe in that second season. Celtic finishing 3rd, Celtic and Rangers again, Swansea, Cardiff finishing way down in 8th. You will notice that a Champions League slot has disappeared, as has a Europa League spot. So that one of those has been downgraded to a Conference League spot, which is interesting because now only the 2nd and 3rd get Conference League, and it's the Cup that gets the Europa League. And again, you can see top 4, Celtic, Rangers, Hibernian, St Johnstone, so Swansea and Cardiff missing out once again. 27-28, Rangers and Celtic, top 2 once again. Cardiff still struggling down there. 2028, 2039, you see Rangers, Swansea, Celtic only managing 4th. There is an extra European spot back now down here for Hearts. Wrexham up there in 9th. 29, 30. Rangers, Kilmarnock doing well here. St Johnstone doing quite well as well. Celtic down in 5th. Cardiff struggling down in 11th there. Shamrock Rovers, Ayr United down at the bottom. And then we have 2030-31, Celtic, Rangers, Swansea, St Johnstone, Hibernian, Kilmarnock, and finally, and then 31-32, Celtic and Rangers once again, the top two. Motherwell doing well here. Cardiff Met Uni, by the way. Cardiff Met Uni down here, by the way, getting into the Celtic Nations Premier League and playing a derby game against Cardiff. They only got 2 wins all season, though. And then finally, this is the last one that we have. Larne getting in, Shamrock Rovers getting in. We can see very much at the top, Celtic, Rangers. Cardiff haven't done as well as I'd have thought. Maybe Hearts, I thought, might have done a bit better as well as Wrexham once they'd got in. But yeah, that's how we're looking 10 years in. Now, I'll drop down the divisions just to show you how they look. We've got Dundee, Hamilton doing well here, far up to the Championship. Down in League One, we've got Cork City, Sligo Rovers, Bohemians, Partick Thistle. Now, interesting ones down in League Two. Teams like East Fife. Actually, East Fife have gone up here, but I'm surprised it's taken them so long. Down in the third tier, again, there's some teams in the third tier I thought would have done better. Maybe Annan Athletic, perhaps, or Dumbarton. Down in the conference, Airbus United going up. At this level, you start to get teams that are sponsored by actual team, or not sponsored by the teams of actual companies. So that's the Airbus team. All these divisions have names, by the way. If I just show them to you, in a second, we just quickly go down to, this is the League Two, and then finally down in the Welsh Lamb League, we've got Chirk and Carmarthen going up. So they are the Tato Cheese and the Onion Nations Championship. And then we have the Kerrygold Championship, the Tunnocks League 1, League 2 and League 3, and then the Titanic ones. The Cups also have these kind of names as well. If I go down to the Cups, so underneath the Welsh, we've got the Ardbeg FA Cup, the Ballygowan Spring Championship, the New Parliament Cup, the Kingspan Cup, and the Causeway Challenge Cup. So there are those 5 cups as well. Starting with the big ones, we'll just see who the winners are. So the Ardbeg FA Cup is won by Celtic, Rangers and St Johnstone. Kilmarnock winning the most recent season as well. So these do come with Europe spots as well. The Ballygowan Spring Championship, Celtic and Rangers winning most of them. Shelbourne doing well in all of these, considering they're a lower down team. They seem to be like a strong cup team. Cobb Ramblers in that first season, or that second season, they're a League 3 team. They got to the final that season and they lost 2-1. That is interesting. Then after that, we have the New Parliament Cup, and there's a really interesting one here. We have Celtic winning the first 2, St Johnstone, Swansea, St Johnstone, Rangers, Celtic, Queen of the South. Now, Queen of the South are down in League 2, which is the 4th tier, and they managed to win the equivalent of, I guess this is the League Cup. We just look at their run. You know, they beat Stirling, they beat Rangers, they beat Arbroath, so they did well. And if we just go back, you can see Celtic, for example, were knocked out in the second round, I believe, by East Fife, who are a third tier team. You can see some of the top tier teams are just getting knocked out early on in the second round and third round, and it left lots of opportunity for by the time we get to the quarter final, and they also get drawn against each other. You know, Queen of the South getting a very favourable draw there against that. Sterling could have made it even further to the semi-final, who were down in the 5th tier. Imagine if a 5th tier team got to the semi-final of the FA Cup. And then, you know, they knock out Rangers on penalties, go into the final and beat Arbroath 1-0. What a dream for Queen of the South. Unfortunately, this one for some reason doesn't come with a European spot, so I don't know which cup this is the equivalent of. All of this is roughly based on the English system, but it's not quite, so it's an extra cup, this one. But well done, Queen of the South, on winning that one. So I'm going to go forward to 2053 now, just to show you 30 years, and then we'll have a look at Europe, see if any of them managed to get Europe. So far, it's been all Celtic and Rangers, so I also want to know if anyone other than those 2 teams has won the league. If you haven't put your prediction down in the comments below, make sure you do it now, because it's going to be interesting to see whether anyone can break the dominance of these teams. I mean, they haven't been that dominant. They haven't always finished first and second, but they have always finished, one of them has always finished first. So yeah, one of them has always finished first, but they haven't always finished second. So we'll see. So here I am in 2053. You can see the state of the league in 2053, very much Scottish dominated now, with, I think there's just Wrexham, Cardiff and Swansea might be the only non-Scottish teams here. Unless, is there any others that have, oh, Larne, we've got Larne in there as well. So there is just one. The league is 8th still in reputation. You can see the past winners for the last few years. So here we are in 2053. You can see the whole of the league, and I think these are all Scottish, other than those 3 Welsh teams, Wrexham, Swansea and Cardiff. No, we got Larne, so that's being blind. That's the only one though. So that's the state of the Premiership. We'll look at the winners shortly. We can go look at who has won it. So we'll go back and look. Let's go through the seasons. Let's start ourselves off in 2033-34. So Celtic win again. We got Cardiff Rangers. Celtic top again. We'll just keep an eye, see what's happening. Derry City got Europa League that year. Interesting that Derry got Europa League. Aberdeen getting up into the Champions League as well. Look, the number of spots has gone down by 2036. Celtic and Rangers again. Still Celtic and Rangers. Still Celtic and Rangers. Extra spot in there, though. You notice the Champions League spot has come back. And quite a few spots this year as well. Cardiff getting the Europa League, even though they're way down in 9th. Still Rangers and Celtic. Rangers winning again in 2040. So we've had almost 20 years now of Celtic and Rangers. Look how many spots there are this season. There are 7 spots this season in 2041-42. And I've been and had a look on why this is. Essentially, the coefficients met a perfect match in this season that gave them, they ended up 5th in the coefficients and gave them an extra spot. So, you know, that's based on their performance in Europe. We'll go have a look because they didn't win any European competitions. So it's not that they qualified from winning the previous season. None of these are based on that, which is really interesting that it was actually just the general performance in those competitions that got them got them the extra spots here. 4 Champions League spots, 2 Europa League spots, and a Conference League spot. You see it drops down again by the time we get to 42, 43, and again 43, 44. So, you know, it was this perfect moment, a culmination in 41, 42, dropped off rapidly back down by the time we get to 23, 34. And considering it's based on the past 5 years, it's a weird little quirk that it just about managed to do that. And how poor those teams were. That's that season they all got in probably as well. You can see Rangers again, still Rangers. Oh, there we go. Swansea, finally. It took us until 2046-47. We have Swansea as a winner, Rangers second, and Celtic actually don't even get European football this season. You can see down in 5th. Aberdeen St Johnstone getting spaces via the cups. Rangers again. We're back to normal service. It actually is Rangers now until the end. So we managed to get one non-Rangers Celtic in the entire experiment. So that's interesting that those 2 teams were so dominant, but that it was cracked just that once by Swansea. And the state of the coefficient isn't great right now, so the league did sort of go up and drop back off again. I can go down and have a quick look through the other divisions. So this is the final season of the Championship. You see Larne going back up, Arbroath, Institute going down, Stenhouse Muir, Carrot Rangers. And then down in League 1 here, we've got Cliftonville, Peterhead coming up to the Championship. Dunfermline coming up. Total Network Solutions going down. Down in League 2. Cardiff Met Uni, by the way, what a history they had. You remember they were up in the Premier League early on. And then, look at this. They went all the way down to League 2. Up to the Premier League, down to the Championship, down to League 1, down to League 2 again, and then fluctuating since. And they've been down in League 2 since. This is League 3, Stirling and I would have thought Dumbarton would have done better, but they're down here in League 3, which is the 5th tier. Similarly in League 2, actually, just the point of Alloa and Forfar, I thought would have gone higher up. Maybe Hamilton Academical, I think, started in the top tier, and they've just dropped down all the way. Where did they start? Did they start in the Premiership? They did start they started in the Championship. They got themselves up to the Premiership. So they're another one that's fallen off rapidly. This is the conference. This is the conference. We've got a few interesting teams here. The Distillery. We've got Armour. We've got, I think, you know, probably these were Cafernan. I think probably these ones are probably about where they would be. This is the other division of the conference. And again, there's not loads of surprises there. There's no one there I'm looking and thinking they probably would have been higher. And in the Welsh Slam League, you see here as well, we got a load of teams. Stranraer is perhaps the biggest surprise here. In fact, I think Stranraer were a lot higher at one point. So Stranraer started out in League 3. They've been relegated all the way down to the Welsh and then been down their stints. In terms of the cups, this is the FA Cup version. So you can see pretty much, other than that Kilmarnock that we saw early on, there's been very much those top teams dominating. Ross County grabbing 2 late on. Were there any interesting finalists? It doesn't look like the FA Cup has been that interesting, you know, other than those Ross County wins. The Spring Championship, on the other hand, we've got Bray Rose, we've got Institute getting a final in that season. We've got UCD getting a final. We've got Derry City winning it in 39-40. Cork City winning it in 33-34. Cork City, by the way, down in the Championship now. Derry City, we're a Derry City. Derry City are also a Championship team now. Treaty United also Championship team getting a win. In fact, I've just noticed Derry have won it twice. And a couple of other finals for them as well. 3 finals, 2 finals. So yeah, Derry, it looks like Derry City and Cork are doing well in this Gown Spring Championship. In the new Parliament Cup, we've got very much the same teams. Motherwell sneaking one in. So that Queen of the South is very much outsourced. Queen of the South, by the way, down into the Championship now. So they have improved since, but it was surprising that they got that so high up. I've just noticed the name of the where this is played. Schoolfield. How big is Schoolfield? Stadium information. 500-seater. Why is the final of this new Parliament Cup played on a 500-seater stadium? These are played at the Aviva. This must be like a low. Are these the reserve? These aren't the reserve teams. So I wonder why it's been played there on this tiny school field. Wow. Imagine Rangers turning up to play at a school. This is the Kingspan Cup. So these are the lower league cups now, and the Causeway Challenge Cup as well. So let's go look at Europe and see if any of them won a tournament in Europe. So we're going to start off with the Conference League. I'm going to go past winners. We're going to start here at the bottom. So we've got Aston Villa, Getafe, Sevilla. Oh, we've got one, 26-27, St Johnstone. So any of you who guessed that there would be a Scottish or a Celtic winner, St Johnstone right there. Only 4 years in as well. They beat Eintracht Frankfurt. We have again then in 2031 Celtic. So this is looking promising so far. We've had 2 in the first 10 years in the Conference League. Let's see if we get any others. I'm not seeing any right now. It seems to draw. St Johnstone win it again, 20, 44, 45. So they have a almost 20-year gap, 15, 18-year gap between the two. And then I don't think that we get any more. Oh, Aberdeen, 46, 47. They beat Nice. And then we get Swansea in the final. They lose to Ghent, though. So we had 4 winners there. Well, 3 winners. 4 times. Aberdeen, St Johnstone twice, and Celtic. So that's not bad. So that's the Conference League. So certainly on that front in Europe, they've with this combination, this merging of the leagues has helped. In terms of the Europa League, let's have a look then. So we've got Leipzig, Villa after that Conference League win. I'm not seeing any here. Not even finalists. Is there even a finalist? We have to come all the way to last season, I think, unless I'm blind, where Kilmarnock lost at Hampden Park as well, it was played, to Manchester United, 2-1. Interesting that it was played at Hampden Park. We also had one at the Aviva Stadium a few years before, so it looks like the stadiums are being picked out a little bit more as well to play these tournaments. Now, the big one, the Champions League. Have any of them won the Champions League? Right, a quick glance at that tells me exactly no, because this is all PSG, Arsenal, Liverpool. Arsenal win a Champions League, that is right. Liverpool, Newcastle, Man City, Barca, Atletico. Like, those are the only 4 or 5 teams that have won it, and pretty much the opponents are as well. I see an Inter and a Porto sneaking in there, and a Spurs. Spurs never managed to win one because Spurs don't ever win. Oh, Crystal Palace in 2033-34. What has happened at Crystal Palace? That is strange. Let's see what Crystal Palace have been like. Crystal Palace 2033-34. They finished third. They finished third 2 seasons in a row. Wait, they finished second this season here. 5th, 4th, 5th, 3rd. What the hell has happened at Crystal Palace? There must have been a takeover or something. Let's have a look. We've got, as I say about Wilfried Zaha, this is talking about Wilfried Zaha there. New chairperson floated on so they went onto the stock exchange. Wilfried Zaha Parks. They got a new stadium. It's called Wilfried Zaha Park. 2024, so the very first season in January, in fact, the 9th of January, they've had a tycoon takeover. That's massive for Palace in this save. Absolutely massive. Anyway, unfortunately, we didn't have any Celtic winners in the Champions League, so you know that part of it they haven't done quite so well. In terms of the coefficients, you can see the Nation Club coefficient is up to 7, so that's not too bad. I don't know where Scotland was probably about 13, 14 in real life, so it's not too bad. In fact, I am curious now we know that Berwick Rangers are on their own in Scotland. What's been going on? Who is still in Scotland? Cowdenbeath. So some of these teams that were left there, the Premiership, Cowdenbeath have been winning them all actually. And East Kilbride, these were the teams that were left behind that never made the move. Wow. I wonder how they got on in Europe. If you're wondering if it had any impact for the nations, these are the European teams in the FIFA coefficients. Wales 25th, Scotland 26th. So maybe a little bit. Ireland 47th, Northern Ireland 66th. So probably not loads. I think Wales and Scotland are doing all right there, and 25th and 26th is probably higher than what they are in real life right now. So that's the Celtic Nations League. I think that's really interesting. I think if you're doing Celtic or Rangers, could be a really interesting one to play. Maybe if you're Swansea or Cardiff as well, could be a fun one. Try and get them into Europe, see how you get on. And I think even some of the lower league teams, it just adds that little extra edge. So that's made by Miranda. It's down in the description below for the link that will take you to the Steam Workshop version, but you can also just download it and plug it in if you're playing on Game Pass or on Epic Games. If you like these crazy databases, I've been doing some weird experiments with databases. I released every single player in this one here, and they go do some weird things. Clubs have no players, players have no clubs. They go to some odd places. This is an odd one, I promise you.